looking ahead at?
No. I think what we're looking at is there are different perspectives. The ruling party has its own perspective, and the Prime Minister seemed to indicate that we really had a great and effective and efficient Parliament last time. So basically, suspend 100 MPs, and you can have a quiet time in Parliament. And Rahul Gandhi basically said that is not efficiency is not what we are after. What we are after is that the people of the country have sent these representatives to debate the big issues of our time. And voices of the people of the country must be heard through their representatives, whether they're in the ruling benches, treasury benches, or whether they're in the opposition benches. That, I think Rahulji said it, to my mind, that makes a lot of sense. I don't think efficiency is what matters. I hope the Prime Minister understands that.
Let me bring in now Ujjwal, Deepak of the BJP. The BJP can no longer make fun of Rahul Gandhi. The Prime Minister appeared to take him seriously. Will the BJP fall in line and take the cue from their leader?
Barkha, first of all, congratulations to Mr. Gandhi. For the first time ever in his political career, he'll be behaving in a serious role. I hope he stays there for a longer time, at least for 20 years now. That's what you all have been wanting, that there is an opposition in place. So for the last 10 years, no party could qualify for even being an opposition party in the parliament. I hope Mr. Rahul Gandhi takes it seriously. The problem is that he again didn't want this job. He didn't want to take up this job. That was visible in his initial reluctance to take up this job. Unfortunately, he'll be again doing the job which he does not want to do. But fortunately, he'll be again doing a job which he loves to do: oppose, question, disrupt, disturb, spread misinformation. So if you look at Mr. Rahul Gandhi's career, he has no role to play in India's development. All what he has done in the last 20-25 years of his political career is just question and audit other people's jobs. And that's what LoP's job is, right? So right now also, when you heard his statement, he doesn't believe in efficiency of the parliament. So by efficiency of the parliament, and that was a very valid statement by the Speaker of the House, that in efficiency, the voice of the opposition is already included, right? But Mr. Gandhi is just interested in questioning and auditing others' jobs. And that's why I said he now needs to be more serious in his job. I hope he does. Just 1 second, Barkha. I hope he doesn't wink in the parliament anymore. He attends more sessions of the parliament. His past records tell everybody that he has not been interested in attending the sessions of parliament. But as a leader of parliament, he will be bound to attend more sessions. I hope he does that and he does the job.
I think that last point is a good point, and we looked up the data from PRS Legislative, and I'm sure Salman will want to respond to this. As LoP, Rahul Gandhi will have to spend more time in Parliament. In the last Lok Sabha, his attendance was 51% compared to the national average of 79%. This is from PRS Legislative. And Salman, I will let you respond to that as we go along. But Shahid Siddiqui, kya badlega ab? Ki kuch badal chuka hai. The images we saw of the Prime Minister, Mr. Gandhi, shaking hands, इकट्ठे जा रहे हैं, stage पे आप भी देख रहे हैं. मुझे तो नहीं लगता कि in the last term we would have thought that this moment was possible. I don't think when we saw the tenor of the campaign, we would have thought that this moment was possible. The kind of adversarial energy between the two sides felt very personal, and even the RSS chief pointed out that the maryada of the campaign had not been kept. What do you make of these images that we're seeing out of Parliament today, Shahid bhai? Shahid bhai, I can't hear you. Shahid bhai, can you unmute yourself? I can't hear you, Shahid bhai. I can't. You're muted at your side. If you can unmute yourself. Okay, I'll just get Sugata in the meantime because we can't hear you at all. Sugata, just jump right in. Yeah. Sugata.
Thank you, Barkha. I mean, the one thing that stood out for me in today's, thing in Parliament is besides, what has already been mentioned, that is the shaking of hands between Prime Minister Modi and Rahul Gandhi, is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi's attire has changed. He is not wearing his white T-shirt today. He was wearing his kurta pajama. So that is significant in many ways, because he is now playing a very important and a very serious role. And I'm really glad that he has accepted the role, because, as I sort of mentioned in my book, he has had a very troubling relationship with power. So this signifies a certain kind of reconciliation with power for me. So it's a very interesting moment for him as a person, as a politician, and it signifies something else for Indian democracy as well, because now he cannot just be a political activist that he has been. He has to play a more pragmatic role. In the previous 10 years that he has been in parliament, he has taken a very hard ethical line. Probably that is because the numbers were very small and he had to make himself heard, and therefore he took kind of, he put himself on a certain kind of ethical pedestal, and all the time when he spoke, he sort of tried to speak down, talk down, and say that I am good and you're bad. And that is the moment that we saw in the previous parliament when he went and hugged Mr. Modi. So from that to now, where he's come back to his kurta pajama, I think he'll have to be more pragmatic. And if you talk in terms of American democracy, there's a certain kind of deal making that he'll have to sort of become acquainted with. So Parliament cannot function without the LoP playing a certain pragmatic role. He's also, if you listen to what he spoke today, Rahul Gandhi is trying to play a classic textbook opposition leaders kind of role. So it's very interesting that he is trying to push back on day one, and that is what opposition leaders do. So we don't have to grudge him about that or find fault with him. I think that's perfectly all right. But he'll have to start looking more pragmatic than the kind of person that he has been. He has to sort of reconcile with a lot of things. He'll have to sort of come to terms with a lot of parliamentary procedure. There's a lot of method involved in being a good parliamentarian.
What did you think about him waiving the constitution at the prime minister while the prime minister was taking oath? Because that generated a lot of debate yesterday.
I think that was, my personal reaction to that is, I think he was overdoing it a little, because now there's a bit of confusion as to who is violating the constitution, because the prime minister is trying to push back by reminding us all about what happened 49 years ago with the emergency. And then there is Rahul Gandhi who's trying to reclaim the constitution in a certain way. And it's almost an activist mode. So there has to be some kind of a middle path, which which we generally speak in American terms as deal making, as I said. After the 70s in American politics, you don't see liberals, you don't see moderates, you don't see conservatives on one side. It is harder and polarized kind of a situation. And I think Indian politics has entered that kind of a bend. And it's very, very important that there are people who talk to each other on either side of the aisle and bring things together. So I think that will be the next big moment that we have to watch.
Yeah, you've raised
very interesting to watch. Yeah.
You've raised an interesting point about the emergency being referenced. Let me just mute you. Yeah. You made an interesting point about the emergency being referenced by the speaker today. And when the speaker did it, the opposition actually protested. The Doordarshan didn't cut to the opposition when that was happening, but you could hear them. Later, Shashi Tharoor outside said that the speaker did this without any prior discussion. Let me just bring in Shahid, and we'll actually talk a little bit about what happened with respect to the emergency, the fact that Mr. Modi is pushing a hard line on that, also bowing before the constitution. The constitution has become now, as I said, a protagonist in parliament. Shahid Siddiqui, please go ahead.
Yeah. Your question, Barkha? I didn't get your question.
I'm saying that Sugata says that maybe Rahul Gandhi is overdoing the waiving of the constitution, because now Mr. Modi is also trying to invoke emergency and saying, look, Congress violated the constitution. That was one question. And when we lost you, the question I was asking was, the images we saw of Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi today, did you ever think 5 months ago that you would see those images? Shahid bhai, go ahead.
things have changed for everybody, for Mr. Narendra Modi, for Rahul Gandhi, for the BJP, and for the opposition. So everybody will have to readjust to this new situation. India, it's a different parliament, it's a different India, and everybody will have to be much more mature about dealing with each other, and that we saw today when they shook hands, when they came together. I think I agree that there was no need for Rahul Gandhi to raise the constitution when Mr. Modi was taking oath. There was no need for that. So, but what I have seen is that in last say a few years, Rahul Gandhi has matured. Rahul Gandhi has become much more responsible, and I think it will be a very different Rahul Gandhi which we'll see in the parliament. But we'll also have to see a different Modi. If the Mr. Modi doesn't change from 2019 2014 Modi, then there will be a problem. Then there will be much more confrontation. So it has to be both ways. Tali ek haath se nahi bajti, tali do haath se bajti hai. So if the attitude of the ruling party is to get over everything and roll over the opposition, then that will not be allowed, that will not be accepted. The opposition will have to make much more noise, and as my friend said, that the role of the opposition, they will be questioning. Of course they will be questioning, it's their job in a democracy. If they don't question in democracy, if they don't raise their voice in a democracy, if they don't raise the issues, then they are not doing their job properly, and we expect Rahul Gandhi and other opposition leaders to do that. And we also expect the speaker to change a bit. Speaker, I'm sorry to say that speaker in the past, I have seen a lot of parliament, both as a parliamentarian and both as a journalist for the last 50 years, that the way Mr. Birla has been dealing with the members, I think is not a very, very healthy situation. So he'll have to change much more, and there has to be a much better, much healthier, much positive house today, and in the interest of the country, in the interest of what we want to do and the way we want to grow. So it has to be a very, very different situation now.
Okay, let me bring in Salman. Salman, let's start with the question raised by Sugata, that there is now a pushback from the BJP over the idea of the opposition being the defenders of the constitution. Today, for the last 2 days, we have seen the Prime Minister personally kind of tweeting about the emergency. Today, there was a resolution. Mr. Birla got up. The opposition protested. Why did the opposition protest? I mean, we all agree the emergency was wrong. And many of the Congress leaders today call today's age an undeclared emergency. Do you think the parallel holds? Because if this was an undeclared emergency, would Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi be walking up to the stage together, congratulating the speaker?
Barkha, like I said, today, one day is just one day. This is the start of new parliament, and we all want it to start with as much civility as possible. But there is no doubt that we have an undeclared emergency in this country. For the longest time now, for the last 10 years, we've been dealing with issue after issue. I mean, you talk about the election commission, how the government decided at the last moment to basically appoint the election commission of its choice. You talk about what has happened to much of the media, not yours, I'm happy to report, but much of the media is now effectively under government control. They actually get messages on WhatsApp about what discussions to hold and and how to go about setting the government's narrative. You have public institutions, taxpayer-funded institutions, which you and I and others on this panel, we pay taxes, and those institutions have effectively become frontal organizations of the BJP. So there's a lot that has gone wrong, but I'm happy to say that we fought. We fought hard, and the people actually stood with us. And in this fight about the emergency type situation that we face, I think on the constitution, the people have spoken. They've spoken. They stand with us. They stand with the India Alliance. There is no question about that.
Why did the opposition disagree with the speaker's resolution on the emergency in Parliament today?
I will. Yeah. Because I will tell you what. This is essentially the speaker speaking the language of the government. The speaker is not government. The speaker is not BJP. Mr. Om Birla is not part of the BJP any longer. He is the speaker of parliament, of all MPs, of all voices of India. when the speaker starts doing things that are clearly engineered by the BJP, then he's already in some way showing us his hand. We hope that he behaves with much more even-handedness in this parliament, but we will be prepared to basically push back and push back hard, because millions, hundreds of millions of Indians are with us. They've sent us to fight for what they believe to be right, for their issues, and nobody, not the Prime Minister, not the BJP, not the RSS, and not the Speaker, can stop us from representing the people of this country.
Okay. Before I get Ujjwal, Deepak in, Sugata, since you raised this point and you said maybe, there's an excessive use of the constitution, worked in the campaign as a symbolism, it triggered a conversation around whether the quota policy would be changed, Dalits in particular, that vote got divided. You hear Salman say that if the speaker is going to basically recite the script of the government, the opposition isn't going to take part in it. What do you think is going to be Rahul Gandhi's biggest challenge now as he takes on the helm of the LoP?
Barkha, I mean, it's perfectly all right to sort of speak about the constitution. Nobody can stop anybody to speak about the constitution, because that's at the absolute center of our democracy. So that's fine. But what was a little excessive was to sort of keep waving it when the Prime Minister was taking his oath. So that was a bit of an excess. And also, the opposition should not be cagey if the emergency is mentioned, because that was a really dark moment in Indian history, modern Indian history. And Mrs. Gandhi downwards have all accepted and regretted what happened at that point of time. I don't know, I mean, I may be right or wrong, but there was a resolution of the Congress party at some point which said that, what happened during the emergency was wrong. So when it has been accepted and people have moved on, I don't think they have to really try to sort of be very, very defensive about the emergency being raised. In fact, they should step in and say, yes, that was a mistake, and we should ensure that nothing happens like that, or in a clandestine form, that is the undeclared form. So I think they should sort of be sportive about it, talk about it more, so that the opposition, so that the ruling party is left with nothing to speak about.
In fact,
to be fair, during the election campaign, when this whole issue came about, when they said that if they get 400 plus, they will change the constitution, I think Mr. Modi, on many occasions, said that even if Ambedkar were to come alive and ask us to change the constitution, I don't think we are going to do that. So I think he had made a fair point. But, Rahul Gandhi has built his politics around it. It's fair. It's nobody can fault that thing. But, there are things beyond that is what is important.
Okay, we're getting some comments in our audience stream, and I'm just going to take some of them. We have Prasad saying, just like how the world collectively condemned World War II in Normandy, as well as the Holocaust, Parliament, Congress included, should observe this dark day. And so I will get Salman to respond to that. Another person says, Subha says, I fear with this wrong sense of victory by Congress, they might just oppose anything the government brings to the table. They should have sensible discussions with the government. I do want to bring this to Ujjwal, but I think I must give Salman a chance to respond. If I'm not wrong, in 2021, Rahul Gandhi himself is on record saying the emergency was wrong. The Chief Justice of India, whose father took the wrong decision, during emergency, has said his own father was wrong. So, isn't there a consensus on emergency? Why are we still debating it, Salman?
No, we're not debating it. I think it is clear. I know the emergency was wrong. You know the emergency was wrong. And it is nobody in the Congress party saying bring back the emergency. In fact, the Congress party has done everything possible for the last 10 years to make sure that we don't have another emergency in this country, undeclared or declared. So we're fighting hard. And in fact, in this election, it was clear that we were fighting with the Constitution in our hands, because we made sure that people of the country understood what changing the Constitution, as BJP's own leadership had said on multiple occasions before the election started, that changing the Constitution could have huge repercussions for people. The most marginalized people in this country would be the most hurt, would be disproportionately hurt. We made the case, the people agreed. And here we are. The prime minister can say anything he wants. He can say that the Congress is going to destroy the constitution, etc. But people don't agree with him. He was forced to bow down to the constitution, and we'll make sure that his place is at the feet of B.R. Ambedkar and the founders of the Indian nation.
Well, Ujjwal.